Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anissa Dada, and today I'm going to present my project, Welcome to Mumbai, an analysis of the Oscar-winning film Slumdog Millionaire. Have you ever felt misjudged by people because of things they have seen or heard about you from outside sources? Well, if so, you probably feel similar to the way that the people of India feel after they watch the film Slumdog Millionaire. Slumdog Millionaire was written by Simon Beaufoy and directed by Danny Boyle and is a hit film that was all the rage in 2009, winning awards for Best Cinematography and Best Picture, among others. The film is set in the slums of Mumbai, India, and attempts to capture the slums in a realistic manner. However, from analyzing the film, I find that maybe they did not do as great of a job as us Americans thought they did. This leads me to my research question. Through the use of character relationships and cinematic styles, does Slumdog Millionaire portray an accurate illustration of India? A quick roadmap before we get started. First, I'm going to provide a quick synopsis of the plot. Next, I'm going to provide a review of the previous literature in the reception of the film. Next, I will discuss the causal analysis between the brothers' relationships. And lastly, I will discuss the textual analysis, in which focuses on angling, color, and the soundtrack of the film. A quick synopsis of the film would be that Slumdog Millionaire tells a westernized story of two Indian brothers, Jamal and Salim Malik, who are striving to rise from poverty. Jamal is the protagonist and is a contestant on the Indian television show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, in which he draws the correct answers to the questions from his past experiences. However, because of his Slumdog label, he is accused of cheating when he truly knows the answers. After the tragic death of their mother, the boys become nomads living off of crime and incorporate a young girl. Her name is Latika. Latika is Jamal's love interest and joins his brothers on their journey out of poverty. In adolescence, Salim becomes a corrupt gang member, earning money through brutal crimes. Salim is the eldest and therefore is the most powerful because of his idea of entitlement from being the eldest. He rapes Latika and threatens to kill Jamal should he interfere. When the boys split up, they are eventually brought back together, and Salim lets Latika go so that she can experience life with Jamal. So a review of previous literature reveals that the reception of the film was different between the East and the West. In the East, people did not enjoy most aspects of the film. They gave mostly negative reviews. They judged the film based on validity, felt the film was superficial in execution, and were overall just offended by the film. In the West, people raved about the film's story, gave mostly positive reviews, judged the film based on the plot instead of the validity of India, and enjoyed the global broadcast of the gap in the Indian economy. This leads me to my causal analysis of Salim and Jamal's relationship. By explaining the relationship between Jamal and Salim through the lenses of sibling rivalry and social conflict theory, it is apparent that the brothers are in search of a better opportunity, or in other words, the American dream, alluding that the directors made this film for the American audience. Before I begin analyzing the relationship, there are first some important terms that I must introduce to you all: attachment theory, sibling rivalry, Karl Marx, social conflict theory, and coercive power. Attachment theory describes healthy relationships with primary caregivers, indicates the types of relationships a child will develop in the future. Sibling rivalry is the jealousy, competition, and fighting between brothers and sisters. Karl Marx' social conflict theory is defined as a small group that controls the means of production and exploits people with less power while competing for scarce resources. Coercive power controls a person by means of punishment when failed to conform. The beginning of the brothers' flawed relationship sparks from the death of their mother. Their mother was killed in a Hindu riot that left the boys vulnerable and having them to fend for themselves. This begins their journey out of poverty. However, without their mother's mediating force, they no longer have anyone to mediate their conflicts. This flawed relationship is also due to the improper attachment that the boys never fully develop, leaving their relationship doomed from the start. This attachment malfunction leads to violence between them. For example, the photograph example is an example in which Salim sells Jamal's photograph in exchange for money, and Jamal does not get mad at Salim, or does not physically get mad at him. In the reunion of the brothers after Latika is raped by Salim, Jamal punches Salim in the face, which shows how the mediator of their conflicts was not present to control his anger. After the death of their mother, The brothers work tirelessly to achieve the American dream. However, they both have different perceptions of what this dream was. Salim is a capitalist by nature and strives his whole life to be rich. On the contrary, Jamal's interpretation of the dream is to live happily ever after with the love of his life, regardless of what they have to survive on. This makes the fact that he wins both the girl, the money very ironic because Salim loses both. Their rivalry stems from Salim's competitive nature and his jealousy of the relationship between Jamal and Latika. Because of his need for superiority, he controls Jamal and Latika using coercive power. For example, every time Jamal is reunited with Latika, Salim finds a way to tear them apart, whether it be by raping her or dragging her back into slavery. Their rivalry is very westernized in the sense that the values that they possess and are fighting over are American values. Money and love are two very important American values and are the two centerpieces that the film revolves around. They are also two of the resources or opportunities that the brothers fight for in social conflict theory. So as mentioned before, social conflict theory divides society into a capitalist group versus a working group that are both fighting over resources. In the case of the film, the resources are opportunities to rise from poverty and to find true love. This theory explains the relationship between Jamal and Salim with Salim being the capitalist and Jamal being the worker. Salim pulls all the strings in Jamal's life from what he will do to money to when he will get to see Latika next. This is why he stands as the small group in society, and Jamal stands as the inferior group. So they fight, instead of fighting over viable resources, they fight over things such as Latika and the American dream, which is also opportunity. Latika provides Salim with money, and Latika provides Jamal with love. So a textual analysis of Slumdog Millionaire includes my analysis of the cinematic style used in the making of Slumdog Millionaire. I examine camera angles, color, and soundtrack. Camera angles emphasize how poverty-stricken India is. That camera angles emphasize the image of poverty-stricken India and who controls power in the situation. So the fast-paced running scenes show the inside of the slums. Bird's eye view shows how vast the slums are, and low angle and high angle show who is powerful. In this fast-paced scene, you can see the brothers running through the slums, and this provides viewers with an image of the inside of the slums. Rather than being on the outside looking in, this gives Western audiences an example of being on the inside. The bird's eye view enhances how vast the poverty-stricken India is. It includes a 4x zoom out of the slums, and still the slums are never ending, it seems. However, this view is very biased in the fact that Boyle neglects to acknowledge that there is other people living in the slums rather than just extremely impoverished people. Two other angles that are important are low angle and high angle. Low angle, as seen here in the three examples, show Salim in two of the pictures and Jamal in the last one. Salim in the first picture is about to shoot Maman, showing that he has control over the gangster. Salim in the second picture is luring Latika to go with him, showing that he has control over Latika and Jamal in this situation. And the last image is Jamal after he punched Salim in the face, showing his anger and frustration with his brother and showing how he has taken back power over his life. In high angle, on the contrary, high angle is used to make the person being powered over appear inferior. Once again, I provide three images that illustrate this angle. The first is Maman about to be shot by Salim. The second is Salim's reaction to Salim asking Latika to go with him. And the third is Salim after being punched in the face. All three show signs of worry in their face to enhance that they are inferior. Next is color. I discuss color and costume and as well in Bollywood versus Slumdog Millionaire. So in this image, you can see that the color in the Bollywood film is quite more vibrant as in the color in the dancing scene in Slumdog Millionaire. The only color is very vibrant in the Slumdog Millionaire scene is yellow. And yellow is very important to Latika's costume, which I will discuss here. In the beginning of the film, Latika is seen wearing a yellow dress, which indicates that she's happy that she's found Jamal and Salim because she now has a place where she belongs. In the second image, you can see Latika being found by Jamal wearing dull neutral colors to indicate that the happiness has been sucked from her life. In the third picture, you can see that Latika is once again happy because she is going to be reunited with Jamal, and that her happiness is illustrated in her attire, and also eliminates the effect onto the audience to become happy for her. Lastly, I'll discuss the soundtrack. The soundtrack sets the tone of each situation and foreshadows events such as Latika being portrayed in the plot. However, the music contains a highly Western influence that is very relevant in showing how the movie is for Western audiences. So 3 examples of the songs are Osaya, Jai Ho, and Latika's theme. Although we will not have time to listen to each song, I will show you the most important song of the film, which is called Jai Ho. As you can see from this song, the song comes at the end of the film during the dancing scene and is important in demonstrating the victorious feeling that Jamal and Latika feel after they've become reunited. The words Jai Ho mean to be victorious. As for the other 2 songs, Osaya consists of fast-paced drumming that are demonstrated in the fast running scenes, and Latika's theme is a foreshadowing song that indicates that that Jamal and Latika will be reunited. In conclusion, by examining the film through the lens of social conflict theory and sibling rivalry and closely analyzing the cinematic style used to create the film, it is concluded that Slumdog Millionaire is in fact a biased, inaccurate representation of India that focuses on the westernization of the country rather than focusing on the traditional values of India. Slumdog Millionaire was intended for Western audiences, thus the reasoning behind the Indian disapproval of the film. The significance includes because America is such a diverse country, understanding that Slumdog Millionaire is an inaccurate representation of India is important for Americans to be culturally aware of the people who surround them. It is important for tourists who plan to visit India to understand that there is more to India than just poverty-stricken people and crime, so that tourists do not offend the native people of this beautiful country. Thank you.